Grand jury has indicted Rodney Hinton Jr. on 2 counts of aggravated murder, 1 count of murder, and 2 counts of felonious assault in the death of retired Sheriff Deputy Larry Henderson.
Now, ahead of the indictment, I sat down for a one-on-one interview with Hinton's defense attorney, Clyde Bennett. We talked about everything. It was like an hour-long conversation, from the deadly shooting of Hinton's son to his mental state at the time of the deadly crash. Here's a portion. When you walked into the courtroom and there were 30-plus officers lining the courtroom, and they said it was to show their respect for Officer Henderson, a lot of people would say that was an intimidation factor for Hinton, Mr. Hinton. How was it gauged by him and by you?
Anybody looking at that would say one or two things or both things. It's a show of support for the Deputy Larry Henderson. His colleagues are disheartened. They're sad by his departure or his demise, and I would expect them to support him. But also, one can look at it and say, this is a show of force. This is threatening. This is intimidating. So there's 2 ways of looking at it, and I think both ways are reasonable when you construe what you saw in that courtroom when there was 30 deputies. I can understand it from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department view, but I can also understand it if that was my son, or that was my brother, or my uncle, or a relative with 30 or 40 police officers 2 or 3 feet away from him when he's in court seeking justice. Not
guilty by reason of insanity is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. And in this, with this absolutely innocent deputy who was plowed down and killed, and he is an exceptional man from everything that I hear as well.
He's a very exceptional man. I didn't know him personally, but I've seen Deputy Henderson more than once, and I've been in contact with him more than once over the years. And let's be clear, I feel for Deputy Henderson, his immediate family, his extended family, his colleagues and fellows at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. I feel for that community and that family. And the Hintons feel bad for what transpired or what happened to Deputy Henderson. They pray for the Henderson family, and I pray for that family too. But I had to compartmentalize my feelings and do my job. But that doesn't mean that I don't have feelings and that my clients don't have feelings for what happened to Deputy Henderson, because we do.
Is there anything that you think is important that we need to address?
No.
Because you can't go into any more detail about the mental illness, which is what I would want to know about.
I can't. That would be divulging attorney-client privilege
because the
at
thing
this
is,
stage of the legal process.
As I've said it twice, not guilty by reason of insanity makes a lot of people angry.
Right. Why?
A cop-out. It's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out if it isn't real.
Right. And that's the thing. Proving the fact that it's real.
Right.
It's like a court case in its own.
The doctor proves that it's real. The medical records proves that it's real. His conduct proves that it's real. And I think that's forthcoming.
Tell me what it was like when you were talking to the family about watching him getting shot by police officers. What was it like in that room? What did they say? How did everyone react to it?
My focus and my concentration was on the reception of the information or the video and the perception of the video from my client, Mr. Hinton. So I really didn't ask about the other individuals and how they received it and what impact, if any, it had on them. I was concerned with Mr. Hinton. So I can't tell you what the other people...
Did he tell you anything on how he was?
No.
Nothing?
No.
He hasn't commented on it at all?
No.
I don't know how much privilege that is.
No. That's as much as I'm probably going to give you, but no, he didn't tell me about that.
Okay.
I don't think he's in a condition to tell me.
Is he in the condition that he shows any remorse or anything right now?
No. No, I think he's in a bad condition, in a bad state right now, and I think he has the residual effect of his mental illness. You don't get rid of mental illness. It doesn't go away. So, the ruse, the fraud, the temporary insanity, oh, I was upset, and then 5 minutes later, you realize what you did when you were wrong, or you're hanging out, doing whatever you typically would do, and you're normal. That's usually a fraud. This man is still under the influence of his mental defect and condition. So I haven't been able to get the information I need from him.
Okay. Let me just reiterate, I said this at 5 o'clock. This interview was like an hour long, and we addressed a lot of different issues. He talked about everything that I asked him. We talk about mental illness a lot and his plea. Now, I just reached out to Clyde Bennett just moments ago following the indictment. He did give me a statement about the death penalty. He says, quote, "It is very easy to obtain an indictment, particularly when you present evidence to a grand jury on the heels of an emotional, provocative, tragic incident. As a matter of law, an indictment is not indicative of guilt. In fact, the judge tells a jury that the indictment means nothing." He went on to say, in this case, the indictment does not change the facts, circumstances, and events of that unfortunate day. It does not change the fact that Mr. Hinton has a history of mental illness. Mr. Hinton experienced a psychiatric episode triggered by watching a video of his son being shot to death. And that because of his mental defect, he did not know the wrongfulness of his conduct when he engaged Deputy Henderson. Bennett says they look forward to their day in court.
That was a fascinating interview.
Nice
job.
There's more. We're going to bring you more of it throughout
Yeah.
the evening.
It just gives us another perspective. You know
It does, and I think that a lot of people want to know his state of mind because now we know from the prosecutor that he did go to the left lane, the right lane, the middle lane. He sat there and then went straight at the deputy.
Yeah.
And it gives us a little insight into his state of mind, perhaps, and his plea.
More of that interview coming up.